So, hi, talking about the place of women. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This is Kevin and Nixon. They're Kenyan teenagers. They were 13 and 16 when I met them. And they live in a part of Nairobi, Kenya, called Mathare Valley. You might call it informal, some people do. It's less politely called a slum. Kevin and Nixon worked with a group called Maji Mazuri, which means good water in Kiswahili. And this was a group of about 20 children between 6 and 16. And I went there to play with them and engage with them and just kind of check out what their world was like. And it was amazing what I learned from them, which you'll hear a little bit about. But they got together in this little tin shack after school and on weekends to make things, to write rap songs and do skits and all kinds of stuff like that. And it was basically a place where they created community. Their environment doesn't necessarily nurture that as much as they created in this little tin shack by themselves. They were all pretty much being raised by single mothers. Mathare Valley is about 70% woman-headed households, and it's full of women who are very enterprising and entrepreneurial. And this was a place that they really cherished. So today I'm going to tell you a little story about Mathare Valley and what I learned there about how the structure of a community speaks volumes about the values of people there and how we can actually create community within a certain kind of space. How does space dictate what we do there? Mathare Valley, is a long way from Denver, of course, but there are a lot of positive attributes of it that reflect the same things that we value, and its organic development gives us some important insights into the places where we can be most creative. So when I first visited Kevin and Nixon in 2005, I followed them down a dusty path into Mathare Valley. And just go there with me for a minute, close your eyes and imagine this place. You're walking through and you hear the strains of East African guitar, and you can hear a lot of young children run up to you and grab your hands and say hello, and there you can smell wood smoke from fires, and you can smell some charcoal smoke, and you smell grilled meats and hot cooking oil. There are a lot of cooking smells, and underneath that is a little bit of rotting garbage. And you can hear not only the music, but people selling things. As you walk into this place, you're surrounded by activity. There are shops on one side of you where women are selling vegetables, and they have these beautiful cairns of tomatoes and potatoes and avocados, and they're selling things. And on the other side there, you can hear kind of a tinny sound of a movie soundtrack as a curtained-off theater plays a movie for people who are just stopping in. You can hear preachers, and you can hear dogs, and you look around and you see people working on bicycles and doing all kinds of things. There are tailors working treadle sewing machines surrounded by colorful clothing. It's a very active and vibrant and lively environment. Now, I took that journey a lot with Kevin and Nixon, and we would often end at one of the homes of their mothers. They lived with their mothers, and this is Nixon's mom. She sold vegetables and fruits out in front of her house. She would go to a wholesaler pretty much every morning and come back with these huge burlap sacks of vegetables and fruits on a hand cart. She had to go quite a distance to get this material, but she would bring it back and set up a market out in front of her home. So this is very typical. There are a lot of kinds of businesses like this out in front of the homes. Sometimes Nixon's younger sister would make us some milky tea and feed us some mandazis, which are fried dough. So we would sit and relax with her. She was around the house a lot. She had graduated from high school, but she wasn't employed. So she worked with their older sister who had a hairstyling business. She would sit on this stool, and women would come by and get their hair done. And it was a really active place. If you can imagine kind of an eddy of activity out in front of this house. There's the vegetable selling, there's the hair braiding, a lot of things going on. Women are coming with their children. Very, very active environment. Now, Kevin's mom had a couple different home-based businesses. She did a couple different things. She managed a water tap in the slums. Water is scarce and expensive, and Kevin's mom was a beneficiary, somehow, I don't know exactly how, of ownership of a water tap. So she owned this, and women would come and do their laundry. They would come and they would bring these big green and orange and yellow pails with their washing powder and their clothes, and fill up their buckets with soap and just talk. And again, another important eddy of activity. This was kind of a little alcove. Kevin's mom also ran a kind of underground bar. She sold this stuff called changa, which literally means "kill me quickly." It's like a jet fuel. It's a really, really powerful grain alcohol. But again, another important place of activity. She had this kind of parlor off to the side of her house, and mostly men, the customers were mostly men, they would come and pay about the equivalent of 25 cents for a shot of this stuff. So again, another important place of activity. Now, when we think about slums like Nairobi, and I was working in international development, we tend to think of these places for all that they lack, all the deprivations. They don't have adequate sanitation and garbage removal. This is a mountain of garbage. They don't have adequate toilet facilities. The toilets at the top of the hill were too expensive for people to use most of the time, so they used the garbage dump. There often aren't proper cooking facilities, so women are breathing in the smoke and detritus of cooking fires. And as Kevin said to me once, when it rains, this place becomes shapeless. However, one of the girls in Maji, Missouri, really said it powerfully, I think. She said, "This environment is so dangerous for us. You can be raped or beaten. Breathing is even so hard." But then, she said, "Yet, everything is close by. When you go to school, it's not very far away. Schools are close, churches are close, the houses, the shops, the markets, everything is close by." She was saying that her whole life could be in a small part, a little village of Mathare Valley, and be self-contained, and that was safe and protective for her. Now, the good things that she was alluding to were schools, like this one where Nixon went to school, or this one where Kevin was enrolled. Churches, like this one, where the kids would go to perform their rap songs, and they loved this. This was a very safe space to hang out, lots of churches in the community. And places of beauty. There were positive people running these shops, and lots of opportunities for the creating love and a healthy community for children, even given all of the deprivations. This is not a place that people would typically think of as beautiful, yet there were lots of pockets of beauty. Those places where women would gather for their laundry, the children would be playing around the hanging clothes, and as if they were in suburban Denver. It was a really amazing experience for me to see all the love and care in this place. So in some ways, what I learned is that Mathare Valley is not really so very different from the places that we are trying to emulate in our urban planning and design these days, like the European cities that we're looking to create our new mixed-use developments, where everything is walkable, everything is close by. There's a lot of resonance between this Parisian street and Mathare Valley, if you really think about it. In studies by feminist geographers and urban planners, women consistently say they favor environments that are busy and that attract a wide range of different people, and that feel safe because they prioritize pedestrians over cars. In a study by the Women's Design Service in the United Kingdom, researchers found the factor that contributed most highly to women's sense of safety was a variety of, or lots of other people around. That activity is what helps us feel at home and safe and comfortable. And that's exactly what Mary was saying when she said, everything is so close by in my Mathare Valley community, I can create a village out of that. We're creating little villages these days, and this is what women in design research are saying that they want as well. The American urbanist Jane Jacobs also spoke to that point, pointing out that the way that we can save our cities is to create more activity, to have eyes on the street, she said. So again, a lot of that, those same principles. So when I came back from Nairobi the first time, I worked with some young people who were involved in the Denver Child and Youth Friendly City Initiative. And I gave a bunch of young people cameras and said, go out and show me the places that you love, show me the places that you don't like as well. So several of the girls pointed out the 16th Street Mall and other places like this, which again have this same kind of feeling. One of my subjects said, I've spent a lot of time on the mall, both now and when I was really young. It's like a second home to me. They were gravitating toward places where there was good food to eat, there were places to hang out, to see and be seen, very important aspect of adolescence, and also adulthood in a lot of ways. So these types of environments are coming up again and again in research with young people and women in particular. When I was preparing for this talk, I sent out some information to women friends of mine around the world and said, tell me about what you love about where you live. Tell me about what makes you feel at home. One of my friends in Nairobi said, well, you know, I try to find people who share common interests, and we find places where we can be together. A friend of mine in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, said, you know, she looks for public places where we can all be together and where we can people watch, places to hang out, coffee shops, again and again, very important places. And one of my friends here in Denver said she feels like her neighborhood is kind of a Mr. Rogers neighborhood, except it's Mrs. Rose's neighborhood. Because again, she can walk to her grocery store, she can walk to her butcher, she knows people, she's met people on the street walking her dog. This kind of dense urban environment, and her part of the city is not particularly dense, but it's an urban environment where there are things that are accessible. She lives close to this development, which is in West Highlands. This is a co-housing community. Again and again in research, in urban design research, women in particular are pointing out that they want safe places for children as well. Co-housing offers that kind of an opportunity. This is a private courtyard that is surrounded by public streets with lots of different kinds of housing, lots of different opportunities for people to meet up and to engage and to have those chance encounters that life on the street allows us to have. This is one of my favorite hangouts, and we have another wonderful woman urbanist to thank for this space, Dana Crawford, here in Denver. She is responsible largely for the preservation of and the development of Larimer Square. Again, another really wonderful active place. Of course, Larimer Square is more of a privatized public space. It's a place where there are shops and things. It's not a really open public space, but it's a place where we can see and be seen and have those same activities, meet up with people, have social time. Dana Crawford also developed the Flour Mill Lofts, which are adjacent to Commons Park. Again and again, also in research, open space comes out, which is interesting because in Nairobi, you don't want open space. Women don't want open space. Women avoid open space in Nairobi. They gravitate toward those closed places because open spaces aren't safe. Here, we're fortunate in the open American West that we love open space. So this Commons Park actually ties together two very dense, lively, newly developed, exciting neighborhoods in Denver. This trend has even gone out to the suburbs. This is Belmar in Lakewood, where I grew up, that replaced Villa Italia Mall. We're looking for more of these opportunities to have walkable, accessible environments. So the same research by the Women's Design Center said that one great way to get people out is to make places more beautiful. Beauty, of course, is in the eye of the beholder. I only have 10 seconds, so I'm going to move quickly to ask you about the places. What is your place? Where do you go? What kinds of spaces do you need? Given all of this, think about what you love about where you are. How do you adapt the places like the Mathare Valley kids did? How do you preserve what you love about your environment? And how do you create something new that meets all of your needs? Thank you.